decade ago, the people were very apprehensive. There was anxiety in the land. It was like a piece of the graveyard. The state, people were afraid of an apparent interaction with the state. So you had a calm. But now, people are relaxed and have a sense of belonging to the state, because the state cannot do without the people and the people cannot do without the state. So the anxiety that has been generated in the polity now is very unfortunate. And you can see there is a clear division on governance. And governance has been impeded by this spate of politics that have annihilated some constituencies and some organs of the political class from the people. How do we get here? I think these are questions that will determine the focus of this discussion.
All right, let's quickly, you mentioned the assembly, so I think we would quickly start with that one. Let's quickly get you to give us your opinion about the let's quickly get your opinion on the situation at the River State Assembly. First question I would like to ask is, how does a lawmaker defect? Because there's been a lot around, Martin Ameule and the other lawmakers who are having their sitting somewhere that we don't know. At least I don't have that information. I don't know if it's somewhere out there. But they've been having sittings, and they've also been going about legislative business. And most recently, what they did was to declare the seats of the Okojombo-led assembly, Okojombo and the other lawmakers, vacant. How does a lawmaker defect? You are a lawmaker. Can you give us an insight into how this works in the House?
Okay. Thank you very much. You see, by defection, the issue of defection, now we are in Nigerian Info. You now move over to maybe AIT, that you no longer work with Nigerian Info, and people see you publicly that this is where you now are. Then you now come back again that you want to continue to collect payment from Nigerian Info. I think what people will look at is not only yourself. They will look at, in the first place, how did we get here? What kind of training did you receive? Whether we should support you or not. So I think it has to do with value system. When we saw some lawmakers defecting on broad daylight on television, that they have left the party that sponsored them against the spirit and tenets of our constitution. In the last constitutional amendment, it was clear, it has been supported by Supreme Court, that once you defect from a political party that sponsored you, that you have lost your seat. And they know this. We saw them on television.
So why wait for people mention this and then say, but the court has not said anything? Is the court needed to first interpret that before anybody takes actions on it? Because I mean, now there are issues that they've gone to court to say. I mean, we heard Martin Ameule said, well, we never defected. Whatever that is a propaganda somebody's putting out there. In fact, saying the governor is putting out there. They are still members of the PDP. They never defected, and you've seen it from what the judge has said in the court. But then there's a place of the Constitution, and then there were videos of letters read on the floor of the House. I'll go back to the example you make with Nigeria Info. I could come back to Nigeria Info and say, I submit a resignation letter. Even if you saw me working with AIT or doing something with them, I did not submit a resignation letter. And that's the excuse now that we have. I think it's the one thing that many are saying, well, defection for political party is straight. You have to go to your ward and exam, blah, 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 all of that process. But there are others that say the fact that you did that on the floor of the House with the speaker at the time, read it, and everybody yelled to it. Where do we go with that?
I think the clear difference between the civil service job, bureaucracy, and politician, is that in politics, politics comes with rapid change, and civil service comes with status quo. So, as a politician, your main essence is to speak. Declaration. The only way you can declare, you can defect in politics is by public declaration, whether it is written or not written. We saw them publicly declare, and that is where integrity and value system comes in. We saw them publicly. I no longer belong to PDP, that they are now in APC, and you saw the flags. Television went. You see, when they now eat their words, you now begin to wonder, how is their background? How did they get here? What kind of value system do we cherish in our system? That people, we eat their words. And that shows that. That is why, if you look in the past, nothing has happened. If people can brazenly come before Rivers people, before Nigerians and the world, that they did not defect, then this is not the kind of people we should expect to be in public service. It comes with a level of integrity in speaking the truth and saying something and living by it. I think I would suggest that since they made the mistake, because it shows that they never wanted to leave the party in the first place, or they wanted to leave the assembly, I would suggest that let them go back and seek a fresh start. Most of them are still very popular. I don't know the fear. I think it was one of the chief of staff of government had that they say they used to write results. I think that must have given them fear that since they don't have the platform to write that result, they might not return. But if they have a change of heart, the Rivers people could still consider some or even most of them back. This issue of trying to say they did not defect, trying to stall a constitutional process of budget, who will suffer from a budget that has been suspended? I think it is Rivers people, because budget does not target the governor. It targets me and you. The projects that were to benefit over a year period. The 2024 budget is supposed to provide projects across the entire 23 local government in Rivers State. So once that budget has been shut down, it means that I cannot get roads and other public services to my place. You cannot get and others cannot get. So it is not against the governor. It's against you and I. So I would suggest and appeal to all the facts, all the those aggrieved, to allow the budget session. Now, even if you say the budget has been shut down, you cannot shoot down a budget cycle that is almost 90%.
But I mean, Martin Amewule and the others have said that their actions are done for the interest of Rivers people.
Who's
contrary
interest?
to what you're saying?
Look, we all know for the past 8 years or so, what interests have they projected?
They're fighting for the justice, for democracy, and to ensure that democracy is not eroded. That's what they're fighting for. That's what we've heard them say.
Let me tell you, democracy is any form of government. The main interest is that let the people's interest be served. That is the meaning of democracy. You go to China, they tell you that they have People's Republic of China. It's a democratic nation. You go to Russia. Also, in trying to interpret democracy when it suits them, I think it's highly detestable that before the Rivers people, it challenges the sensibility of an average Rivers person, that we know them, we see them, that in the past 8 years people have been living in fear, annihilated from their constituents and people of Rivers State, and for the first time in more than a decade, we are seeing a system where people are being carried along. In the past 8 years, I saw bridges in 2 local governments. I didn't see one single road. I'm from Gokana, I'm from Ogoni, in my area. But now I can see, for me to get to this studio here, I have to turn around. There's a circular road going around. In fact, projects are everywhere. I think they will stand to benefit more in this administration, even than the one they held sway. So I'm still appealing that Rivers people should stand firm and support the state to provide services. We don't want to live in the past. They represented, about 2015, they represented the future of Rivers State, but now they are in the past. The government and the administration, we are looking up to them to present a reverse of our dream, so that our children can have better public services, can benefit from what our commonwealth, which it is being fought for now, the equality we deliver to our people.
Now, I mean, with the actions they took just yesterday, that has now brought up a whole different conversation. Some would begin to ask questions like, if they are still sitting and they're said to not be lawmakers, why haven't the government stopped them? That's one. Number two, who is paying? Who pays a lawmaker? Who pays a lawmaker and the other benefits you get for sitting? Who pays that money? And when telling us who pays it, who are they getting those monies if they said they are still the authentic lawmakers of the Rivers State House of Assembly?
I think it depends on the governance style of the chief executive of the state. Now, rephrase the thinking and the question. If it was previously that the former governor and now the FCT minister was the governor, and people are sitting elsewhere, what would have happened? Also, think back when Amechi was a minister and Nyesom Wike was governor. How it started, how 20 lawmakers also opposed him, and he had 5. What actually happened? I think you can set all these things, all this motion in replay and answer these questions yourself. Rivers people are aware, but sometimes they are apprehensive, they are afraid.
Why?
Why? No, we have, just like during Amechi's time, you have a big brother at the top that has been used to intimidate the people of the state. But the people cannot be intimidated. For how long do you intimidate more than 5 million Rivers people? Well, the issue of payment of the lawmakers, you know how they get their payment. Sometimes they do it on expectation that if they come back, these are the things they can control the resources of the state, have the budget the way they were doing before, and becomes business as a vision.
In other words, you would think that with situation in the state, nobody's paying them. Martin Amenule.
Because they are getting motivation from somewhere else.
Where would that be? That's the question many are asking. Some have accused the FCT minister, but to say that the FCT minister would be paying all of those lawmakers, over 20 of them, would be, almost unheard of, to be paying them every month. Not to mention where they are sitting and then other allowances that they would get. So what then would be the extra motivation?
Well, the extra motivation is to get back their state, get back the governance structure, take over the resources and the people of our state, give them a direction as before, and preside over our future and our heritage. I think that would be the motivation. Whether the FCT minister is paying them, it's left for him. I saw him on television saying that giving them support. I don't know whether he's paying them. But they can mobilize themselves. What you need in taking such an action is motivation. It could be financial motivation. It could be inspirational, that this is what they expect to get.
But some say financial is key because, they've said, the FCT minister openly said he bought tickets for many of them members of the PDP at the time for elections. So when they look at that, it's easy for them to say, well, if you did that kind of a thing before, who is to say that you can't do that now? But it's still almost unbelievable to think that, he is just an FCT minister. Where would he get such resources from to pull off something of that
the
magnitude?
FCT minister said he presides over 2 trillion economy, and the FCT people have said that money does not belong to the FCT minister. It belongs to the people of FCT and governance structure of FCT to provide services, goods, and other things, infrastructure for FCT. So it's left for the FCT people to now determine whether a single individual can dip hands into their budget and to their finances, to sponsor or political trends outside the FCT. I think she should better concentrate on providing these services to people of FCT than playing politics in River State. He was our future once, and now he is our past. Football is our future now, and River people should align with him to take us to the destination for which we have been denied for over a decade.
All right. A short commercial is underway. We'll take that. The moment we come back, we'll get on to the local government election that was just conducted and all that we've seen around it and get your perspective on that as well. Was this streaming live on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH? Joining on the conversation. We continue shortly. Conversation continues. Welcome back. My guest, former member of the House of Representatives, Honorable Bernard Mikko, with me in the studio. We asked you a simple question on Facebook, and we're also asking those of you who are listening, so you can respond either via messages on WhatsApp or drop your comments on Facebook. We'll open the phone lines shortly. The question again is, what have you benefited as a constituency? What has your constituency benefited from the lawmakers representing you in the State Assembly in the past year? It could be the form of constituency projects. It could be whether the laws that they deliberate and come up with on the floor of the House. How have these things benefited your constituency directly or indirectly? I would like to know. So share those with us on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. That's the page. You can watch us live or streaming. Drop your comments. Click on the share button on YouTube. It is Nigeria Info PH. My name is Ifeemi Andrew. I'll come back to my guest in the studio now quickly. And before the break, I said when we return, I was going to have you talk to us about the local government elections that was just concluded. I mean, it was one that, building up to the election, many thought it would not happen. The governor was very, very emphatic about it. Risiek was very emphatic about it, and here we are. Election is come and gone. Quite peaceful to a certain level. There are those who have issues of, well, it was not as fair as they say it was going to be. They have those concerns in some corners. You can't throw it away. But what happened after the swearing in is another thing that also caught a lot of people off guard, because many did not expect what we saw that Monday with some of the council secretariats up in flames. And all of these has brought up questions as to what really is the problem. So far, so good. Up until this moment as we speak, there's no information about this from the police that I know of. Maybe they've released something. But as at now that we're speaking, I haven't read or heard or seen something from the police detailing what happened on that day, especially when they had left the council before the election. They were not part of the election. And then in some of the councils, the police stations are very close. But reports said the police was not even present. Seeing all of this play out, what were you saying to yourself while you were seeing all of this play out in the state?
Well, fortunately, I voted in that election. I went to my ward in Gokana, Ward 4, to vote. And with all the shenanigans that went on before the election, the apprehension whether the election was going to be held or not, and policemen were withdrawn from participation by an apparent court order, which I think was not proper. Court order cannot vitiate the constitutional rule of the police, but they did. They took sides. So the ordinary refrain will be that, well, since there is no police, but there is violence. But the interpretation, my understanding of the election proper was that we don't need police in conducting an election. The people conducted themselves. I drove at 3:30 from my place to Port Harcourt, and I didn't see one single individual on the road so orderly. I think it is from the frustration that the election held in peace that took them to the council secretariat.
Took who? That's always the question. Everybody says them.
Opponents. In the local government, they try to penetrate to stop the swearing in.
Who did?
The opponents of the government, the people that hate our people.
Were there people that you know, like you saw and
Of course, their
recognized?
faces, you saw with them on television.
So what? That's what we said. Who are these individuals? Don't they have names?
The loyalists of the 27 lawmakers. They came out clearly that this election should not hold, and they want to enforce the court order. You don't enforce court order by yourself. You don't go to self-help. What we expected was for them to have gone back to the courts, but they don't do that. They kill people in some areas. It never happened in Gokana because we were very proactive in Gokana. They tried in Kana, they failed. I think they succeeded in some part in burning the party secretariat. These are the previous members of council that said their tenure had been extended. having failed to stop the election, they now took the anger, mobilized some few individuals, some brigands, to stop but of course, it can never stop. It is not the building that signifies governance. During Governor Wike's time, when the police also stopped the people from operating from the party secretary, from the local government secretary, they operated from the houses, and that was the same thing that happened. So governance is about the people. So for them to have tried to stop it and failed, I think they are getting the greatest frustration in their life. That is why they have targeted the budget now to see that local government councils do not receive their allocation, because that was where they were going. That if we stop this election and it didn't take place, going by the Supreme Court judgment, that the local government councils will not get anything. Therefore, the state will be paralyzed. But at every instance, God knows how to direct our people, how to make our state survive any difficulty we are finding ourselves. And we pray that the same God that guided our people in the past, will continue to guide us in the future, so that we can have development. Because that is the essence of politics. It's allocation of resources coming together, providing public services and infrastructure. So if people are going to destroy the offices for which they have stayed in and served the people, I think it's very unfortunate. And I commend the governor for setting up a judicial panel of inquiry to investigate the remote and immediate causes of the arson, the violence that took on our people in some areas after the local government election.
What about the police in all of this? How do you interpret the actions of the police in all of this? Let me take our minds back to a few cases where we're still awaiting comprehensive report from the police. We had the attempted dynamite explosion at the Hotel Presidential that I think the corporate suspect had his hand blown off upon the point of detonation of that device. I think the last time we heard from that was the police mentioned the person was in the hospital and then was from Bayelsa, a person from Bayelsa State that clearly resides here or something. We don't know. But since then, we've not really gotten any other information as to what is being done or what is happening. There is that one. There is also the situation that happened at the Assembly complex. We still do not have concrete information as to what has been happening. Has anybody been taken to court? What is the situation with that? Is the police, taking anybody before the law? And we still do not. Amongst, there was also the what was described as an attack on the governor in the early days of all of this. I think the Commissioner for Information had said he was with the governor at the time when I interviewed him then, and when water cannons were shot and the rest, and police officer was assaulting the governor in person, and thought all of these things would have had some, conversations and investigations carried out and open, seen as open investigation with what steps and what is being done to address this. It's what many expect would happen. The police could still say they are still investigating, quite possibly so, but all of these, and then with the local government elections, what do you make of it?
Well, you can see from the actions and inactions of the police that they have clearly taken sides, and the governor have not hidden his opinion about this, where the police will fail to act in the instances for which they were supposed to have acted. They said bail is free, and you and I know that bail is not free. This shows the sleaze in our political system, that court orders given, the police will take side that they shouldn't provide their constitutional duty to the people. People, they saw the police. We have police orderlies when they were in the House of Assembly and they were brandishing APC flags that they are no longer members of the thing. They went to court. So in this matter, the police is at the center. This is not the first time it's happening. When Amechi was minister, he also used the police against Governor Nyesom Wike, but he didn't last. So I will appeal that we don't want to continue to dwell in the past. We want to look forward. Let's reverse support. The same support they give to Nyesom Wike to succeed without much interference, they should also give to this. And
it was interesting because the FCT minister was very vocal when he was governor about this. Says smooth transition in Rivers State. The problem why we are where we are is because after every election there is fights. Everybody is trying to distract the government, this and that. All of these things is why we are not. So when people now ask, if you had said that before when you were governor, Your Excellency, why now is your name coming up in everything that looks like a distraction that would possibly set back the growth and development of Rivers State? That has been a conversation that has been raised and questions has been asked by many people. The FCT minister might not directly have in any way been involved in this. At least he has said that himself. But is it proper to say that because some people that may have allegiances to him or some connection or friendship to him are faces that are in front of this whole saga, could it be safe to then say that he is? Would that not be out of place?
Well, if I have to quote the FCT minister, where he referred during the Amechi era that the state made Amechi speaker for 8 years, made Amechi governor for 8 years, made Amechi first minister. So the state also made him local government chairman, chief of staff, minister, governor for 8 years,
and now minister.
So his loyalty should be to the state that has taken him this far, because failure to do that will show people as somebody who is not grateful to God, not even to the state, and the consequences could be spiritual. When you stay before the public and say, if you do this is the result you should get. So I don't want Rivers people to keep dwelling on the FCT minister. We should continue to look forward. How do we develop our state? What kind of support do we give to the state? What kind of synergy do the state and the people of Rivers State, forge so that our public services, healthcare, agriculture, education can be enhanced to better the life of the people? And it is at this juncture I want to appeal to everyone, because they have brothers and sisters. This state is beyond any single individual to begin to accuse the governor of not implementing the agenda. The governor cannot implement a personal agenda. And they that initially supported him to this position saw him as the best material among them to support to get to this position. So for us, the Rivers people, where he came from is no longer what matters to us. It's where he is taking us to. And we want to follow him. I want to urge Rivers people to ignore all the irritation and the distractions that is surrounding our state and to be focused and see how the governor, no court order can vitiate the determination of Rivers people to succeed. No individual, neither the police nor any other person, can dampen the dream or the urge of development in Rivers State.
All right. We'll open the phone lines now. You said quite a lot, especially from defection as a lawmaker up until development and situation with the budget, and most recently now the local government elections and all around it. Well, let's get your thoughts. Several messages have already been dropping on Facebook. I'll start with those. Odekbalimi Gosoka says, it's the responsibility of local determine a defected House member seat vacant, but the Speaker of the House does that which was done by Edison Ehie. Umform said, what kind of implication development is that? Which side of the House of Assembly? Yes, that's another thing with the situation we're seeing, how it affects development, the House. Who is making the laws that the people would follow? Which constituency? How? And if we go to one side of the House, some constituencies are missing. Some are questioning the laws that those people who are leading that House are making. Is it for their constituents? Go to the other side, you also have constituencies missing, and some people are questioning, do they have the powers to be able to implement the laws that they are making there to effect? Okay, if that's the case, why is INEC not coming to say, let's conduct an election and fill those vacancies? Several questions around. I'm pretty sure we'll get your response, but quickly, 0817-923-0007 0817-923-0007 is the number to call. You can also call 0817-923-0003. 0817-923-0003. Pat from Chokocho says, if the seats of the lawmakers were declared vacant, who did? Who also went to court? Why did you go to court seeking their seats to be declared vacant? Please let us get the right perspective. The right word is allegedly defected 27 lawmakers. Certainly in the eyes of the law, they are the authentic members of the House of Assembly. And the fact that the judiciary has not said anything directly about the situation of Martin Amemule and the others, from the judgments we've seen, none of them has addressed whether they are lawmakers or not.
You see, it is not the duty of the court to declare it vacant. It is the duty of the speaker. Once the constitutional processes have been followed, once you make an open declaration, either in writing or in declaration, even without writing, the speaker can, in his own wisdom, declare the seat vacant. And INEC will be mandated to conduct.
But if that's the case, first, Edison here read the letters. Martin Amewule, I beg your pardon, read the letters on the floor of the House, and we saw what we saw. Edison here declared the seats vacant as well. So why is INEC not conducting the election?
Because that is why they have to rush to court to twist the arms of INEC. If you go to INEC, INEC will tell you that there's a court process. Of course, INEC is a federal government institution controlled by the APC government. So you don't expect something differently. If the otherwise had been the case, election would have been conducted.
All right. Ida from Nkoro, quickly, Nigerian info, good morning.
Good morning.
Mm-hmm.
People talk of the assembly members in Kana houses. They've never done elections in that constituency. People are talking here. And the one representing me, Mikko Nkoro, on the Bladok Sorian Mia, Deputy Speaker of the Assembly, is doing well in my constituency. He's doing very, very well. I don't know somebody who has been affected. The governor took all of them to hospital, and all those who are following Martin Amewule is not children of the governor. So I don't know the seat they are declaring vacant. They have defected to APC. They are member of APC. Please, at the local government election, I voted for my own candidate, and he won the election. The election was very clear and fair. People are dancing, casting their vote. I've never seen that kind of election before. The election that brought our governor, the golden governor of River State, is same in this local government election. Thank you very much. God bless everyone.
Isaiah from Buguma, quickly, good morning.
Good morning. Let me greet the guests. Good morning, sir. It's Andrew. Now, the judgment that you are seeing, Nigerians are waiting concerning the legibility of this first committee. It's in that judgment, Andrew. That judgment will stay as long as even at the Supreme level, even if it has been given, but it needs to be recited again. And this time around, you will find out that it needs to be recited. This whole 4-year tenure will elapse. Yes. But that does not change the fact that they are giving
Isaiah, it's quite difficult making out what you're saying. I think we get an idea. You're saying that if the judgment was there, it's going to be delayed for as long as possible. I think that's what you're implying. Let's go to Yenegua quickly and hear from Gift. Gift, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, go on, please.
Let me address this issue. It's like in this country, we don't obey or respect the rule of law. No wonder our pre-court use those adjectives against the governor of the state. Not gift this time around. Why are we beating around the bush? Who is bigger than the law? We're talking about rule of law, not rule of man or might. Whether you like it or not, if the appeal court have recognized Chike Amewule as the speaker, that they should go and present that budget to him. Who is you, if you hear me, who is me, Gift, or Mikko in the studio there, to tell you or tell me that appeal court did not affirm? If that very appeal court did not see that, how come they are now telling the governor that we notify that very project will upheld the lower court and represent. And we are here trying to paint issues because of a governor. A governor is not a paramount ruler or a king of a community.
All right, Gift. Thank you very much.
Respect, I would not want to follow.
Let's go to Rumo Kutaya and get Chima quickly. We're already running out of time. Thank you, Gift. Chima, good morning.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Andrew, please, your guest didn't answer the question, how does lawmakers defect? He didn't answer that question rightly. And again, we also have the judiciary, which are the interpretation of law. The interpretation law after have been made by them, legislative members. So if the judiciary has interpreted as they did not defect, I wonder what they are still saying. Then again, you also ask a question, what have we benefited we, our lawmakers, our constituency? I think that question should be put directly to him. He was a lawmaker. So what did he do when he was a lawmaker in his own constituency? And what did he do? Then again, let me think about the local government election. In the election, after the police did not participate, do you think that election can be peaceful? The police is not also a constitutional body in the Nigerian constitution. So I don't know where that's giving.
All right, Chima, thank you very much. We'll take one more. Uche Ken, quickly, try to keep it short. We have a commercial coming. Good morning, Uche Ken.
Okay. Yes, Andrew, morning.
Yeah.
I want to ask him a question, your best over there. I heard him say no court order can stop Rivers people. Is he telling us that Rivers people is above the law? That is number one question. Talking about police taking side, I want to ask him again. Is he saying that police does not have the right to obey any court order? That is number two. Number three, talking about benefiting from our lawmaker who represents us, I want to ask him, has Bauchi released any constituency project for them in order to show dividends of democracy for those they govern? And finally, as a lawmaker, can he tell me boldly the process of defection? Does defection have processes? And what are the processes?
All right, thank you very much, Uche Ken. A short commercial is coming, after which you'd respond. now. We don't really have a lot of time, so we're trying to squeeze things quickly. I'll go back to Honorable Bernard Mikko. You got some of the questions from the listeners. If you can summarize your response in under a minute, that would be fantastic.
Thank you very much. I think the confusion that most of those people who called to question is that they expected me to use language of politicians that require further interpretations, but I decided to use language of the common people that they will understand. So the law itself is a political tool by politicians. Politicians make law, not lawyers, not everybody. So, and the job of a lawmaker is basically representation, lawmaking, and oversight. So in the past year, had any major activity of representation happen in Rivers State? The answer is no. Has any issue of budgeting? Budgets are done by the civil servants with the direction of the governor. Their own is has to say to pass it or to deny it or to make some minor adjustments. So, and it is constitutional that if a budget is presented to the state of or to the president can execute a greater percentage, up to 50%.
Mr. Bernard Mikko, unfortunately, we're already out of time. We have to wrap it up here. Fantastic having you around. Hopefully, we'll do this another time.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, let's go for the world news at 9. Stay with us.
And